Here at Oxford University Press Canada, most of the books we publish are textbooks aimed at the school or higher education or ESL markets. But we also publish and distribute books aimed at general readers as well that you'll find at your local bookstore or on Amazon. And sometimes books that are intended and published as textbooks end up finding a wider readership outside the classroom. One such book is Jonathan Vance's A History of Canadian Culture, which we published last year. Vance takes a look at the varied and dynamic history of Canadian culture, as our blurb on the cover says, from petroglyphs to product, circuses to the CBC. Vance himself, who teaches at the University of Western Ontario, is a longtime observer and consumer of Canadian culture. As he describes himself, he was raised on a steady diet of Mr. Dress-Up, Stompin' Tom Connors, Farley Mowat, and the Hamilton Philharmonic Orchestra. Vance looks at the peculiar challenges that Canadian culture faces. After all, we live right next door to the biggest and most culturally dynamic English-speaking country in the world, the United States, and yet we've tried to carve out a little bit of cultural territory for ourselves as well. That's meant a lot of things, from government regulation to Canadian content regulations, and that has shaped how Canadian culture has evolved. It may sound a bit dry from the title, A History of Canadian Culture, but it's an intriguing book about the country we live in and why it has evolved the way it has, and I thoroughly recommend it. We'll be bringing out a paperback edition later this year. The book is Jonathan Vance's A History of Canadian Culture. If you have comments on this book or anything else we're doing at Oxford, please visit our website, www.oupcanada.com.